What if the stories you believed, the ones about your country, your heroes, your very species weren't just incomplete, but were twisted into weapons against the truth? Imagine this. You're looking at the night sky, billions of stars. To you, they're distant, silent. But in that silence, wars are raging, and the things you know as facts are crumbling, pixel by pixel, memory by memory. Every day. You wake up believing you're on the right side. Your leaders, your teachers, your history, each story, each medal, each speech, they all say the same thing. You are the hero. You are the liberator. You are the light in the darkness. But what if the darkness was inside us all along? Tonight, you'll hear a story that was never meant to be told. Story erased, denied, rewritten in blood and propaganda. It's a story of power and betrayal, of loyalty and doubt, of hope so fragile it could shatter at any moment. You'll meet the warriors and rebels who dared to ask forbidden questions. You'll see a galaxy burning with the consequences of one species' ambition. You'll stand on the deck of a battleship and in the ruins of lost civilizations. You'll feel the weight of a secret so enormous, it could bring down the mightiest empire ever forged by human hands. And in the end, you'll face a question that cuts deeper than any blade. What if, in our desperate quest to be the good guys, we became the very thing we feared? This is not just a sci-fi epic. This is a warning. This is Shadows over Orion, the Forgotten War. Let's begin. The year is 2472, but time feels meaningless in the aftermath of Galactic War. Halcyon, once known as the Jewel of Orion, is now a graveyard, clouds of ash drifting over skeletal cities, broken monorails twisting into the dust like the bones of ancient giants. Captain Eli Shepherd stands in the command center of the Indomitable, his eyes fixed on the fractured world below. He's tall, dark-haired, with scars on his face that tell stories he never will. His uniform is crisp, but his heart is heavy as soldier's heart, haunted by memories and questions. On the bridge, screens flicker with the aftermath, Sirathian distress signals, the faces of the lost encrypted commands from Earth that offer no comfort. Maya Green, his first officer, interrupts his reverie. She's brilliant, stubborn, and tired of the lies. "Sir," she says, voice edged with worry, "the scans don't make sense. The Sirathian fleet was retreating, not attacking. And the energy signatures, they're not entirely Sirathian or Terran." Eli's fingers drum nervously on the console. "War makes monsters out of all of us, Maya. But I need more than rumors and signatures." A pause. She steps closer, lowering her voice. "I served with Sirathians before this. They're not the monsters command says they are." Eli turns to the crew. "Ready and away, team. I want boots on the ground within the hour." His words are steel, but his mind races. Why did command send us here? Why now? The last transmission from Halcyon was a plea for peace. Now, all that remains is silence and bodies. As the shuttle pierces the smoke-filled atmosphere, the team watches the world burn. Private Deacon, the youngest among them, breaks the silence. "My brother died in the first wave here. Said the Sirathians fought like devils, but he also said they tried to save civilians." Sergeant Lila Huang, a career soldier, grunts. "Stories won't save you, kid. Stay alert. We're not here to make friends." They land amidst the ruins of a once bustling city. Statues of unity lie toppled, their inscriptions scorched by plasma fire. A stray Sirathian child darts through the debris. Deacon chases after, but Lila grabs his arm. "Protocol, Deacon. We're not babysitters." But Maya's already moving, kneeling by the child, offering water and a calm voice. The child's eyes are wide with fear, but there's something else: recognition. You're not like them," the child whispers. The team discovers a hidden cellar, packed with Sirathian survivors, healers, children clutching makeshift toys. Their leader, Saran, steps forward, a healer with silver skin marked by ceremonial Scars. Eli removes his helmet, hoping to show trust. We're not here to fight. Not unless we have to. Surin studies him, her eyes full of sorrow. You speak as if you have a choice. None of us do anymore. Eli kneels, voice soft. Tell me what happened. Surin's story unfolds in broken English, interwoven with ancient Cirithian proverbs. We lived with hope. We believed your promises. Then the black ships came, machines without souls. They struck first. We fled, and then you arrived. Maya frowns. We're told you started the attack. Saran shakes her head. History is written by the living, not the honest. The survivors share whispered tales. Cirithian medics treating human wounded, only to be executed. Human soldiers, weeping as they fired on unarmed Cirithians. Strange transmissions from black ships, broadcasting in ancient Earth languages. Back aboard the Indomitable, Eli holds a tense briefing. The crew is divided. Some are eager for vengeance, others deeply unsettled. Deacon, shaken, confides in Maya. They looked like us, those black ship soldiers, but their eyes, dead, like they didn't care who they killed. Maya pulls up old records. Look at this. The black ships have appeared at every major Cirithian defeat, but there's no official record. Every time the official story changes, Commander Ashford, the ship's political officer, storms in. Captain, you're letting emotions cloud your duty. The only truth that matters is victory. Eli snaps. If victory means killing the innocent, what the hell are we fighting for? The argument tears at the crew. Old wounds reopening. Humans who lost family to Cirithian raids. Cirithian refugees who lost everything to human bombs. The Indomitable drifts, waiting for orders that never come. In the silence, doubt grows. Late at night, Eli receives an encrypted transmission on his private channel. The message is simple. If you want the truth, come to the undersea archives on Titan. Bring no one. Trust no one. The real war is just beginning. Eli erases the message, but the words burn in his mind. He gazes out at the ruins below, at the stars beyond. What if everything he'd done, every friend lost, every enemy killed? What if it was all for nothing? What if humanity was not the hero, but the villain? His sleep that night is filled with nightmares. Black ships, burning worlds, faces he can't save, voices screaming accusations. And somewhere in the darkness, a single question echoes. One he's too afraid to answer. What if we are the monsters? Halcyon's surface is a mosaic of tragediation forests. Rivers choked with debris. Entire city sectors flattened by orbital bombardment. As Eli's team escorts the Cirithian survivors through the rubble, they encounter the aftermath of choices made in boardrooms, light years away. Private Deacon struggles to lift a slab of ferrocrete, pinning a wounded Cirithian. He grits his teeth, ignoring protocol, helping the enemy. Nearby, Sergeant Lila guards her sector with cold precision, but her gaze flickers to a half-buried Terran medallion. She recognizes it as the emblem of her late brother's unit. In the background, Maya Green gently tends to the Cirithian child, teaching him to say her name. The boy whispers, "Maya, friend." For a brief moment, there is a sense of shared humanity, but it vanishes as a sudden explosion echoes through the ruins. The group drops to cover. Out of the smoke emerges a squad of battered Cirithian guerrillas, wounded, desperate, armed with scavenged Terran rifles. Their leader, Kel, eyes Eli's team with suspicion. "You are invaders, executioners. Why should we trust you?" Eli stands tall. "We're not here to fight. There's another enemy out there, one that's hunting both of us." Kel sneers. "I saw your ships destroy our fleet." Saran, the healer, intervenes, speaking urgently in her own tongue. An uneasy truce forms. The humans and Cirithians share what little food and medical supplies they have. In the firelight, stories are exchanged of lost families, destroyed cities, and dreams of peace that seem impossibly distant. That night, as survivors and soldiers sleep uneasily, Maya slips away to record a personal log. Her words are raw, trembling. I was raised to believe the enemy was monstrous, but here, in the ruins, they mourn their dead the same way we do. How many times have I fired at shadows? How many times did I never question the orders? In a flashback, we see a young Maya, cadet, at Terran Academy, listening to instructors describe Cerithians as subhuman, dangerous, incapable of reason. She remembers questioning a lecturer being punished, made to write lines about obedience and loyalty. Back in the present, Maya wipes away tears. If I survive this, I'll never follow blindly again. At dawn, the group pushes deeper into the ruins, following weak distress beacons. Along the way, they encounter a Terran recon drone, half buried. Maya hacks into its logs, uncovering corrupted data, visuals of black ships attacking both Cerithian and Terran positions, audio clips of Terran voices, issuing kill orders in coded dialects, brief flashes of strange insignious Terran, but distorted lie reviews the footage, rage building. We're pawns in someone else's war. Kel leans over, studying the symbols. My grandfather saw marks like this, long ago, before the war began. Before your people promised us peace. The survivors press on, passing through a marketplace filled with the burned remains of both Cerithian and Terran traders. Leela stops, haunted by the charred remains of a toy she once gave her nephew, realizing with horror that it could have belonged to anyone human or Cerithian. Deacon speaks softly. War makes us all orphans. Deeper in the city, they find an underground Cerithian shrine walls covered in ancient glyphs and modern graffiti. Among the prayers and curses is a single, chilling phrase, written in Cerithian and translated by Saren. They are not what they seem. Kel explains that, for generations, Cerithian elders warned of outsiders who wore familiar faces, but spoke only lies. He looks at Eli. Now we know it was you, or perhaps, those who control you. Eli feels the weight of his doubts growing, heavier. What do you mean, control? Saren points to a mosaic of the black ships. Long ago, before your first contact, there were rumors of Terrans who came not to trade, but to sow discord. Whisperers, manipulators. They played both sides, feeding war. The group is interrupted by distant gunfire. Cerithian partisans clashing with Terran marines. Both sides fighting for survival, neither knowing the real enemy is neither of them. Back on the Indomitable, Ashford, the political officer, receives new orders from Central Command. Eliminate all Cerithian survivors. Seal the area. Any deviation will be considered treason. He hesitates, staring at the crew, many of whom now share food and conversation with the rescued Cerithians. Maya, returning from the surface, confronts Ashford. These people aren't our enemy. The black ships, there's proof. Why are we following these orders? Ashford, torn, threatens Maya with court-martial. But she stands her ground, joined by Deacon and Leela. A schism forms in the crew, some loyal to command, others to Eli and the truth. Eli is forced to make an impossible decision, abandon the Cerithians and follow orders, or rebel, risking everything and everyone aboard his ship. He holds a council in the ship's chapel, the same room where crew once prayed for victory. Now, they pray for guidance. Saren places her hand on Eli's shoulder. My people once believed your arrival would bring an age of peace, but peace requires more courage than war. In a tense, emotional speech, Eli addresses his crew. I will not be the villain in someone else's story. I will not obey an order that makes me a murderer of innocence. Who stands with me? Slowly, hands rise. Maya, Lila, Deacon, dozens more. Ashford storms out, broadcasting a coded alert to Central Command. The captain is compromised. Prepare to intervene. Eli gives the order. Prepare to launch. We're taking the survivors. We're going to find out who's really pulling the strings. As the Indomitable lifts off, black-clad Terran shock troops, the first hint of the Black Ship crews, assault the hangar bay. Trying to retake the ship, a desperate battle erupts, hallways filled with smoke and shouted orders, crew fighting former comrades, Cirithians aiding in defense. In the chaos, Deacon is shot, Maya risks her life to save him, and Lila is forced to make a terrible choice: seal the doors, trapping some of their own outside, or let the enemy flood the ship. She seals the doors, tears streaming down her face. Eli takes the helm. Set course for Titan. We'll find the answers, there or die trying. As the Indomitable blasts out of Halcyon's orbit, flames trailing behind, Eli looks back at the shattered world. The transmission from command echoes in his mind. Trust no one. But in the silence that follows, he knows he must trust his own conscience, even if it means becoming the very traitor he once hunted. The Indomitable glides through the void, its hull scarred and flickering with emergency lights. Inside, tension thickens. The ship is divided. Some crew members stay loyal to command, huddling together, whispering about mutiny. Others rally around Eli, drawn by the evidence of betrayal and their own growing doubts. Maya spends sleepless nights in the medbay, tending to the wounded Terran and Cirithian alike. She sees hatred dissolving into confusion as people on both sides realize their pain is shared. Deacon, barely conscious after the last firefight, is haunted by fever dreams. In them, he's a child again, watching his brother leave for war, only to return in a body bag. His brother's ghost whispers, "Who are you fighting for, Deacon? Who's the real enemy?" Saren, the Cirithian healer, becomes a bridge between the two cultures. She tells ancient tales to comfort frightened children, stories of unity and trust, tales almost forgotten in the endless war. Meanwhile, Lila Wang stalks the corridors, wrestling with guilt for sealing the doors and sacrificing her own. She records a message for her family back home, voice trembling. "Forgive me. I did what I had to. I just want this to end." Word spreads. Eli's council has evidence of Terran war crimes, footage of black ships slaughtering civilians, and files showing orders from high-ranking officials to keep the war going, at any cost. Some officers, like Commander Ashford, dismiss it as enemy propaganda, but Maya assembles a group of techs and Cirithian engineers to decrypt even more files, uncovering hidden layers, logs showing black ship attacks on Terran outposts, blamed on Cirithians to inflame public opinion. Financial records, powerful Earth corporations profiting from the endless war, funding shadow units, messages between admirals discussing how peace would destabilize the Unity's grip on the colonies. Leela, forced to choose, sides with Eli. "I didn't sign up to be a butcher," she says, her voice steel. But Ashford won't surrender. He rallies loyalists, planning to retake the bridge by force. Shadows lengthen across the decks as rumors of a coup spread. Paranoia grows. No one knows who to trust. Saren asks Eli for safe passage for her people. "My people have no reason to trust you, Captain. Every promise we believed led to more death. Why should we follow you now?" Eli's answer is blunt. "Because if we don't expose the truth, this war will never end, and there won't be anyone left to save." Deacon, recovering, joins the conversation, sharing memories of his brother's idealism. He believed in the cause. He died for it. "If he saw what we're doing now, I think he'd fight alongside you, Saren, against the real enemy." Saren considers, then agrees to help. On one condition: the Cirithian survivors must have a voice in what comes next. Far from the Indomitable, in a vast underground facility beneath the Alps, Terran Unity's high command watches the mutiny unfold. Admiral Hayes, ruthless architect of the war, stands before a wall of screens showing unrest in dozens of colonies, riots, protests, soldiers refusing orders. An aide approaches, whispering Shepherd's transmission has spread to the outer sectors. We're losing control of the narrative. Hayes is calm, almost bored. Then we take it back. Prepari Operation Thanatos. And send the black ships to intercept the Indomitable. Behind closed doors, another voice speaks, a shadowy figure known only as Director Vega, head of the clandestine Division 0. We warned you, Admiral. Never let the truth get out. If Shepherd reaches Titan, everything unravels. Hayes snaps. I'm well aware. But if we move too openly, even our own might turn on us. They agree on a solution. Cut off all communication to the Indomitable. Send coded kill orders to any Terran ships in the area, if necessary. Destroy the ship and erase all evidence. Ashford's loyalists make their move. An alarm sounds as Marines storm the bridge. Weapons drawn. Maya, Lila, and Deacon defend the command center, but are pinned down in the chaos. Saren leads Cirithian survivors through maintenance tunnels, disabling security and providing escape routes. She whispers an old Cirithian blessing, light in darkness, truth against shadow. Eli takes a wound to the shoulder but refuses to leave the bridge. He overrides the ship's systems, broadcasting a message to every deck. This is Captain Shepherd. You have a choice: fight for the truth, or follow orders written in blood. I will not surrender this ship to murderers or traitors. Stand with me. Stand with each other. For the future not just of humanity, but of all who dream of peace. One by one, crew members switch sides, overwhelming Ashford's rebels. Ashford is captured, defiant to the last. You're all damned. The Unity will hunt you down. There's nowhere to run. Eli simply replies, then we make our stand on Titan. The crew, battered but unified, sets course for Titan, knowing they are now fugitives. In the hours of tense quiet, alliances deepen. Maya bonds with Cirithian medics over old songs and family recipes. Deacon and Lila debate philosophy. Was war always inevitable, or did someone choose it for them? Eli writes a letter to his daughter back on Mars, unsure if he'll ever see her again. If you ever hear my story, I hope you'll know I tried to do what was right, not just what was ordered. In the Cirithian quarters, Saren leads a small ritual for the dead humans and Cirithians alike. She ends with a simple hope: let this be the last war. But as Titan's orange haze appears on the horizon, a dark shape emerges, a black ship, waiting in silence, ready to end their journey before it even begins. As the Indomitable approaches Titan, its battered hull slips through Saturn's ringed silhouette, cloaked by swirling orange clouds. The crew is tense, expecting an ambush from the waiting black ship. Every eye is on the scanners, every hand ready at their post. In the crew quarters, Eli speaks quietly with Maya and Lila, reviewing Rowan's mysterious message. If you want the truth, come to the undersea archives. Bring no one, trust no one. Eli decides to go alone, trusting Maya to command the ship in his absence. Lila argues, you could be walking into a trap. You need backup. But Eli is resolute. If this is a trap, we need to know who's setting it. Maya presses a hidden comes. Chip into his palm. Stay alive, Captain. Meanwhile, Saren gathers the Cirithian survivors, warning them to stay hidden in case things go wrong. Among the refugees is Tala, a Cirithian child prodigy who hacks the stations, comes and listens to encoded signals, whispering, the walls have ears. As Eli preps his shuttle, the black ship emerges from Titan's shadow, engines rumbling like thunder. Its hull is covered in scorched paint, marked with a twisted variant of the Terran insignia Secret Order, Division 0, on the Indomitable. Maya orders the crew to hold steady, broadcasting a non-aggressive signal. The black ship responds with silence, then jams all outgoing COMMS. Inside the black ship, we follow Commander Lucian Risa, stoic Terran officer, haunted by his own complicity. He questions his orders, his loyalty waning as he watches innocents become targets. His aide, Agent Kolya, is fanatically loyal. Shepherd must die. Division Zero's orders are absolute. If you waver, you die too. Rice glances at a photo of his own daughter, hidden in his vest. A silent rebellion begins to stir inside him. Eli lands on Titan's surface, enveloped by a howling storm. He follows cryptic directions through abandoned mining tunnels, once teeming with life, now echoing with only the hum of machines and the memories of lost workers, both Terran and Cerethian. He reaches the entrance to the undersea Arkaza, vault beneath Titan's methane seas, containing records too dangerous to exist on any world. Rowan, the rebel leader, greets him. She's sharp-eyed, scarred, with a voice that carries the authority of someone who's lost everything. With her is a mixed team: Raza, a Cerethian ex-royal guard, distrustful but principled Nguyen, a Terran hacker haunted by his own war crimes, rebels from every corner of the galaxy, each with a story, each carrying a piece of the truth. Rowan begins. We've all lost something to this war, Captain, but you're the first Terran officer to seek the real truth, not just vengeance or victory. Inside the archives, Rowan and the rebels show Eli what they've found: footage, black ships attacking both Terran and Cerethian convoys, erasing witnesses, then leaving staged evidence to blame the Cerethians or dissidents. Testimony: Terran and Cerethian defectors, soldiers ordered to massacre civilians, then told to silence their own men. Documents: original peace accords, signed and then buried by Unity officials, proving the war was never meant to end. Nguyen, voice shaking, adds, My squad was ordered to destroy a Cerethian hospital. When I hesitated, my commander shot 2 of my friends and forced us to finish the job. They erased the records, but the blood is still on my hands. Raza reveals how the Cerethian royal family tried to sue for peace only to be assassinated by a black ship. The crime blamed on Cerethian radicals. Eli, overwhelmed, struggles to process it all. How did this happen? Why would humans want to prolong the war? Rowan's eyes are ice. Power, control, greed. War is profitable, and fear is the leash. As the rebels prepare to copy the files for Eli, alarms blare. Division Zero's troops breach the facility. Guided by Kalia's spies among the rebels, a chaotic firefight erupts in the archive tunnels. Raza sacrifices himself holding a blast. Nguyen is wounded, but hands Eli a dataship. The truth must survive, even if we don't. Rowan leads Eli through a maze of collapsing tunnels. Pursued by Kalia and her elite troops above, Maya realizes the Indomitable is next. She rallies the crew for an emergency rescue, enlisting Saren and Tala to sabotage the black ship's jamming. The black ship commander Rice makes a fateful decision. He stuns Kalia, sabotages the engines, and opens a channel to Maya. I'm tired of fighting for lies. I'll help you, but you must protect my family. Eli and Rowan reach the surface, battered and desperate. Nguyen dies covering their escape, but his last words echo in Eli's mind. Don't let the story die with us. The Indomitable's dropship arrives just in time, picking up Eli, Rowan, and the remaining rebels. Maja embraces Eli, relieved but changed by the violence and betrayal. As they escape, Titan's horizon erupts in explosions. Division Zero, destroying the archives, erasing any trace of their crimes. But the truth survives in the stolen dataship, back on the Indomitable. Rowan weeps for her fallen comrades, vowing vengeance and justice. Eli promises, the galaxy will know. We will not let this happen again. Yet in the shadows, Division Zero sends a final message to Admiral Hayes. Shepherd has the files. Prepare Thanatos. End it, whatever the cost. As the ship leaves Titan's orbit, old enemies become allies. Rice, now a traitor to his own black ship crew, joins the rebel survivors from Titan's rebellion, blend into the Indomitable's ranks. Maya and Saren share stories with Rowan, forging trust through shared grief. Crew watches the stars, knowing they are fugitives. Each person is changed, some hardened, some hopeful, all bearing scars. Eli addresses the crew and refugees. We are all victims of a lie. Now we fight for the truth, not for humanity, not for Sarathians, but for all who want peace. But in the darkness beyond Saturn, a fleet of black ships gathers, preparing to unleash Operation Thanatos and erase the last hope for peace. The Indomitable drifts near the edge of Saturn's shadow, battered but defiant, her decks full of refugees and resistance. Eli paces the bridge, clutching Nugen's dataship, knowing every secret it holds could change the course of history, or doom everyone on board. Maya checks the medbay, triaging Sarathian children next to wounded Terran Marines. Rowan stands in the galley, listening as a handful of rebels and crew share what little food they have. Saren leads a quiet prayer for unity, and the sound of it is almost drowned by the anxious chatter and far-off rumble of the ships failing engines. Deacon, recovering, asks Rice, "Did you really serve on a black ship?" Rice nods, haunted. "I followed orders. Too many good people died because I was afraid to ask why." The moment is shattered as alarms blare. On every screen, a terrifying sight. A fleet of black ships, not one, but 6 drops from hyperspace, encircling the Indomitable. Kalia, having survived the betrayal on Titan, is now in command of the black ship fleet. Her voice echoes across. "Comes Captain Shepherd, you have something that does not belong to you. Surrender the dataship, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and no one on your ship survives." Eli grits his teeth. "We will never surrender the truth." Maya scrambles to shield the dataship's transmissions, trying to send fragments of evidence to nearby colonies. But the black ships jam every signal. Rowan arms herself, rallying Sarathian fighters and Terran mutineers alike. "If this is our last stand, let it mean something." Saren organizes the civilians, helping them reach emergency pods. Tala, the Sarathian child prodigy, hacks into the ship's systems, guiding crew through blind spots in the black ship's attacks. Rice volunteers to lead a suicide squad to the engine room, hoping to sabotage the black ship's tractor beams. He confides in Leela, "If I make it back, I'll tell you everything Division 0 ever did, but if I don't let them win." The Indomitable fights like a cornered animal. The crew fires everything they have, Sarathian and Terran, working side by side. Boarding pods slam into the hull. Black ship soldiers storm the decks, masked and merciless. Eli leads a defense on the bridge, blasting away at boarders. Maya rushes between injured crew, risking her own life to pull them to safety. Lila, in the weapons control, watches as the number of casualties climbs. She flashes back to her brother, remembered in brief, beautiful moments, and vows not to let any more families be torn apart. Rice and his team reach the engine room, setting charges. He radios back, "We'll buy you 10 minutes. Get the message out." In the chaos, Kalia herself boards the ship, hunting Eli. She's relentless. Fueled by years of indoctrination, her own family long lost to necessary purges justified by the unity. Eli and Rowan confront her in the corridor. She laughs, cold and bitter. "You think your truth will change anything? The galaxy doesn't want truth, only an enemy." They fight. Rowan is wounded. Kalia almost kills Eli, but Rice intervenes, tackling her into the engine core. Kalia detonates a grenade, killing herself and Rice, destroying the black ship's tractor controls, and disabling their lead ship. Tala, watching the monitors, whispers, "He did it. He really did it." With the blockade broken, the Indomitable limps away. Maya, desperate, launches a last-ditch burst transmission of Nugen's dataship, unencrypted raw, and vulnerable to every channel she can reach. She knows it might not get through, but she has no choice. As the black ship fleet rallies, Eli gives the order, "All power to engines. Get us out of here." The Indomitable jumps into hyperspace, battered and burning. Behind them, black ship crews scramble to recover. But the message is already spreading. Fragments of the truth ricochet across the galaxy, from backwater colonies to the very heart of Unity-controlled Earth. The price of survival is high. Rowan mourns Raza and Nuyen. Leela counts the faces missing from her crew manifest, each name a wound. Saren tends to both Cerithian and Terran wounded, sometimes unable to tell them apart. Eli convenes the survivors. We are not who we were when this started. Now the whole galaxy knows, or will know, the truth. Division Zero will come for us, but we are not alone anymore. In the shadows, Division Zero scrambles to contain the leak, framing the resistance as terrorists. On dozens of worlds, riots break out as pieces of the message inspire both hope and chaos. On the bridge, Maya watches stars blur by, uncertain what waits ahead. She whispers a promise to herself, if we have to be outlaws for peace, so be it. But at the edge of known space, a weapon even the black ship's fear is about to awaken. In the days after Maya's desperate transmission, worlds across the Orion sector boil with unrest. On Mars, miners abandon their drills, gathering around smuggled holoscreens to watch forbidden footage of black ship atrocities. On Cerithian colonies, elders weep as they realize their lost kin were not victims of accidents, but of deliberate extermination. Some Unity soldiers, seeing their leaders' crimes, lay down their weapons. Others turn fanatic, hunting those they once called brothers and sisters. On Earth, riots explode in the megacities. Crowds chant, "No more lies," as the regime deploys shock troops. Streets fill with the smoke of burning government offices, and the cries of children who have never known peace. The Indomitable, limping through the edge of known space, is now the most wanted ship in the galaxy. Division Zero broadcasts their faces as traitors, offering massive bounties for Eli, Maya, Rowan, Saran, and anyone associated with them. Aboard the ship, paranoia runs high. Some Terran crew want to turn back, afraid for their families. Others swear they'll die before surrendering. Maya uncovers a coded message. A secret safe haven is rumored on the asteroid world of Silissa, place where Terran defectors and Cerithian refugees hide from Unity patrols. But Tala, the Cerithian prodigy, intercepts a Division Zero transmission. Thanatos is ready. Proceed to Phase 1. Rowan asks, "What is Thanatos?" Saren's voice quivers. The legend says it's the end of worlds. Flashback, in the hidden labs beneath the Alps, Admiral Hayes and Director Vega stand before a massive holomap. Vega intones, "When your enemy will not kneel, you teach the rest to fear." Thanatos is more than a weapon. It's a fleet of automated planet killers, able to sterilize worlds in hours. Hayes, visibly shaken, hesitates. Will be remembered as monsters. Vega is unmoved. History is written by the living. The war ends no in our terms. As the Indomitable seeks sanctuary, word of the truth sparks uprisings on the world ship Cassandra. Unity Marines mutiny, declaring loyalty to Shepherd's cause. Cerithian elders broadcast a call for peace, risking assassination by loyalist hardliners. On Terra Prime, a senator named Juno risks her career to leak evidence of Unity's cover-ups, becoming a symbol for the new resistance. Meanwhile, in the Indomitable, Deacon and Lila recruit rebels and plan sabotage runs. Saren tends to wounded, while Rowan coordinates with a new underground network called the Coalition of Memory, dedicated to preserving true history. The ship, crowded with refugees, becomes a microcosm of the galaxy. Arguments flare, grief surfaces, old prejudices battle against new bonds. Tensions erupt when a hidden traitor among the crew attempts to disable the engines and send a beacon to Division Zero. Tala catches the saboteur revealed to be a desperate Terran officer whose family is held hostage by the Unity. Eli must choose: execute him, or show mercy and try to save his family. He chooses mercy, but the crew is shaken. Rowan warns, we can't trust everyone. Desperation makes monsters of us all. The Indomitable arrives at Silas, welcomed by a ragtag alliance of rebels, Irans, Cerethians, and even defected black ship crew, led by Rice's old friend, Captain Faraday. Faraday reveals what she knows of Thanatos. It's already moving toward Cerethian space. If we don't stop it, millions will die. The Unity will erase every record, every witness, every hope. A council forms, blending all factions. Debate is fierce too. They go public and risk destruction, or try to sabotage Thanatos in secret. Saren proposes a desperate alliance. Truth alone is not enough. Action must follow. We must unite Sir and Terran, rebel and dissenter, or the darkness wins. The night is full of reflection and fear. Deacon writes a message to his dead brother, apologizing for not asking questions sooner. Maya sits with Saran, asking how she still has hope. Saran replies, hope is not a gift. It's a decision, renewed every day. Rowan and Faraday walk among the refugees, making peace between rival groups, reminding all what's at stake. Eli stands alone, staring at the stars, his hand on Nugen's dataship. He knows that in the morning, the fate of the galaxy will hinge on his choices. As dawn breaks, Division Zero's forces descend on Silas, led by Admiral Hayes himself. Planetary shields fail, explosions rock the surface, and panic erupts among the refugees. Leela and Maya lead evacuation teams, while Deacon and Faraday's crew race to disable the enemy's landing craft. Saren is shot protecting a Terran child, and Tala, clutching her tablet, sends a last desperate warning. Thanatos is coming. It's already in range. We have to leave now. In a final push, Eli and Rowan escape with the dataship, broadcasting a desperate call for unity to all worlds. Whatever happens, remember who the real enemy is. Remember who we must become, together, if we want a future. As Silas burns, the Indomitable leaps to hyperspace bound for the final confrontation with Thanatos. The Indomitable, battered but unbroken, limps into the edge of Cerethian space. News of the attack on Silas and Thanatos' approach has spread like wildfire. Now, battered warships, civilian vessels, even old Cerethian temple ships converge. On comes Faraday, Rowan, and Saren, plead for unity. This isn't just about the past. If Thanatos reaches Cerithia, it will not stop there. The Unity will erase anyone who ever doubted them. Every world is at risk. Cerethian and Terran lead. Enemies hold a council aboard a neutral carrier. Tempers flare. Old wounds bleed. Rowan steps forward, voice trembling but clear. We can die divided, or fight together. That is our only choice. After tense debate, a fragile alliance forms. Ships prepare for war, united under one banner. For the first time, aboard Thanatos, Admiral Hayes moves like a man condemned, tormented by the orders he must give. Director Vigacold, fanatical, utterly loyal to the Unity monitors every system. She dismisses Hayes' doubts. History will forget the screams, Admiral. Only strength will be remembered. We glimpse the planet killer's arsenal, swarms of AI drones orbital, disruptorsonacal nanites, designed to erase all life in RZ. The belly of Thanatos, enslaved Cerethian, scientists are forced to maintain the weapon. Their families held hostage. One, Dr. Salka secretly contacts the Coalition, willing to risk everything for a chance to sabotage the device from within. Aboard the Indomitable, Eli and Maya address their mixed crew: Terrans, Cerethians, former black ship soldiers, even pirates. Eli's voice is raw with emotion. I have made mistakes. I've followed orders that shamed me. But today, we decide what kind of people we truly are. Not just for ourselves, but for those who will come after us. Saren, despite her wounds, leads a blessing ceremony. Rowan and Faraday lay out a daring plan. Rowan and Cerithian saboteurs will slip aboard. Thanatos, via an asteroid debris field Faraday's fleet, will draw fire, buying precious minutes. Maya and Tala will hack Thanatos comes, trying to warn Unity crews that they are on the wrong side of history. Deacon, grizzled and changed, volunteers for the boarding party. If my life means even one less world dies, it's worth it. The battle begins. Faraday's ships charge first, taking devastating losses but opening a gap in Thanatos' defenses. Rowan's team, cloaked by Cerathian stealth tech, slips inside. Dr. Selka guides them through service tunnels, past automated turrets and terrified conscripts. On the bridge, Hayes delays the order to fire. Vega overrides him, launching Thanatos' first wave, a world-destroying beam aimed at Cerithia's moon. Maya, working feverishly with Tala, hacks Thanatos comes. Her message rings out on every channel. If you follow these orders, you are complicit. Refuse, rebel, resist. The future can still be changed. Some Unity crew lay down arms, others fight desperately. Confusion erupts inside THA and ATOS. Deacon and Rowan reach the core reactor, planting explosives. Dr. Selka is mortally wounded, but smiles through blood. Promise me, tell them what really happened. As Thanatos charges for a second shot, Vega realizes the reactor is sabotaged. She corners Rowan and Deacon, gloating. You think you're heroes. You're just dust in the winds of history. But Admiral Hayes, torn apart by guilt, turns on Vega, shooting her before she can execute the saboteurs. Hayes collapses, confessing his crimes to Rowan. I was weak, but you were brave when it mattered. He dies, finally at peace. With Thanatos disabled, the Coalition launches a desperate assault. Leela, piloting a gunship, crashes into Thanatos' hull, breaching the core so Rowan and Deacon can escape. Outside, Faraday's fleet holds off Division Zero's reinforcements. On the ground, Cerithian civilians and Terran settlers unite in street battles against Unity loyalists. Maya coordinates rescue operations, working with Saren to evacuate scientists and prisoners. Rowan detonates the charges, crippling Thanatos. The Planet Killer's systems implode in a cascade of explosions, lighting up the sky. But as the battle ends, Division Zero tries one final trick, broadcasting deepfakes, blaming the massacre on the rebels. Maya, Tala, and the hackers counter with real footage, Nguyen's files, Hayes' confession, Selka's testimony. For the first time, the real story spreads everywhere in cut, undeniable. The Unity fleet, leaderless and fractured, surrenders or flees. Division Zero's remaining agents scatter, hunted by their former allies. On Cerithia, Rowan mourns the fallen Rasa, Selka, Hayes, Faraday, all the unnamed dead. She plants a Cerithian sapling beside a Terran tree. May we grow together, or not at all. Eli, Maya, Deacon, and Saren stand before a memorial wall. Names written in both languages. Across the galaxy, worlds rise up, no longer willing to be tools of hate. The battle is over, but the work of healing and facing the truth has only just begun. Months have passed since the fall of Thanatos. On Earth, in the new Interstellar Tribunal, surviving leaders of the Unity stand trial. Admiral Hayes' recorded confession is played before a galaxy-wide audience. Dr. Selka's daughter testifies, tears in her eyes, about Cerithian children stolen and murdered, surviving black ship officers, some defiant and others broken, face their victims and answer impossible questions. The crowd outside the tribunal is a storm of anger and grief. Refugees clutch photos of the lost. Terran mothers hold banners demanding truth for their children, sent to die. Juno, the senator who risked everything to leak the first evidence, is elected as lead prosecutor. Her opening words resonate through every home, every colony. The first step to healing is honesty. The second is accountability. On a broadcast scene across the galaxy, Rowan tells her story. I lost family to both sides. Hatred nearly made me into the very monster I fought. But we must not become the evil we destroyed. Saren organizes a council of Cirithian and Terran healers, tending to survivors, and even, in quiet moments, to captured enemies. She insists, healing is not forgetting. It is the only way we move forward. Deacon visits the graves of his brother and Selka, leaving behind tokens of both cultures. He records a message for future generations. Don't let anyone tell you who to hate. Ask why. Always ask why. Across the colonies, truth cuts like a blade on Cirithian worlds. Some demand vengeance, while others embrace Terran neighbors, building monuments to peace and warning against heroes' lies. On Terra Prime, mass protests force the collapse of what remains of the Unity government. Vigilante groups hunt former Division Zero agents, blurring justice and revenge. Some Unity officers commit suicide, unable to face what they've done. Others, like Commander Rice, turn themselves in, hoping to atone by helping reconstruct what was destroyed. A wave of literature, songs, and even street art sweeps the galaxy. Graffiti in 1,000 cities reads, "Ask who wrote your history." At the tribunal, leaders from both peoples argue about the path ahead. Do they pursue universal amnesty, risking that old wounds will fester, or strict retribution, risking endless cycles of revenge? Juno, Rowan, and Saren propose a third way, a truth and memory commission. Every victim and perpetrator must tell their story, with the promise of mercy for honesty and real justice. For the worst offenders, some, like Leela, worry it is too lenient. Others, like Maya, see it as the only hope. Eli remains silent through most of the debates, haunted by the knowledge that the villain was not just an institution, but a million small decisions made by ordinary people. Maya confronts her old mentor, now a disgraced Unity general. Their dialogue is raw. "You taught us loyalty was everything, but you never taught us to question when loyalty becomes evil." Her mentor replies, "Broken. I was afraid. I thought I was protecting us. I was wrong." Tala, the young prodigy, starts a project to archive every testimony, even those that hurt, even those that contradict each other. History must be too complicated to weaponize again, she says. Deacon visits Rowan and asks how she survives. The guilt, she answers, by choosing to be better each day, even when no one is watching. In a moving public ceremony, Cirithian and Terran children plant a grove on the ruins of Halcyon. Watched by survivors from both sides, Rowan speaks. "This is not forgiveness. This is not forgetting. This is a beginning." Eli finally records a message for his daughter. "I was wrong. I was a villain. But I can choose to be better. We all can. If you ever face the same choice, choose to ask, to doubt, to care." That is how the story changes. Elsewhere, in the shadows, remnants of Division Zero vow revenge, whispering that peace is weakness. But most turn away from old hatreds, inspired by the open wounds of history and the courage of those who faced them. Aboard the rebuilt Indomitable, Maya, Saren, Deacon, and Tala prepare to leave for distant worlds, offering aid and stories, determined that truth never be buried again. As the ship departs, Eli stands at the viewport, feeling both hope and fear. Rowan joins him, quiet but resolute. The galaxy will always have villains. The difference is, now we know they can be us. So this is how the war ends. Not with a single victory or defeat, but with the painful revelation that humanity itself was the villain of its own story. Not every wound will heal. Not every crime will be punished. But the truth, once exposed, cannot be buried again. If you were moved by this story, remember, the most important question you can ask is why. And when the world tells you who the enemy is, ask yourself who benefits from your fear. Epilogue years have passed since the fall of the Unity. The stars are quieter now, but the wounds of war are written on every world-ruined cities. Graves marked by 2 languages, and a generation learning to live with what was done and what was lost. On Halcyon, the grove planted by Terran and Cerithian children has grown tall, roots tangled together, branches stretching toward the sky. Survivors gather every year in the shadow of those trees, sharing memories, songs, and stories that refuse to fade. A new Galactic Council meets not in a palace, but in a glass-walled hall overlooking those trees. Its members are chosen not for power, but for their willingness to remember. Their debates are heated, honest, and never easy. Some days, justice feels far away, but on others, even former enemies clasp hands and laugh at old wounds, healing, slow and imperfect. Rowan, her hair, now silver, serves as the council's mediator. She still carries the scars of war and loss, but has become a living symbol, proof that peace is not the absence of pain, but the refusal to repeat it. Saren leads a network of hospitals and archives, where Cerithian and Terran healers work side by side. Her voice is a gentle reminder. History's greatest weapon is silence. We fight it by remembering. Maya and Lila, now explorers and diplomats, travel between the stars, helping new worlds choose their own futures. Deacon, older and steadier, teaches in a small school on Mars, telling his students, "The hardest stories are the ones we have to tell about ourselves." Tala, once a frightened refugee, is now a renowned historian. Her vast digital archive, memory weblets anywhere, add their own truths to the story. Her motto is simple: no one's pain is too small. No one's voice is too late. Eli Shepherd, his days of command behind him, lives quietly on a green moon, tending his garden, raising his daughter in the peace he never found at war. Sometimes he's asked to speak at gatherings, but he always says the same thing: "I'm not a hero. None of us were. But we chose, finally, to be honest. That's enough." Across the galaxy, there are new threats, new questions, new stories. Some fear the old wounds will open again. Others believe this fragile peace can last. But for now, every night, the stars shine over a galaxy that finally dared to face its own darkness. And that, more than any victory, is how a new history begins. Thank you for listening. This isn't the end, but the first page of a better story. Until next time, never stop questioning, never stop hoping, and never stop telling the truth.